Hey everybody, this is Matthew from Nerd News Today, and what we're going to be doing in this video is a little bit special look at the inside of what my collection is like. Normally we've looked at all the ECW figures that we've been reviewing lately, as well as more modern figures that come out, but one of the things I like to do with my figures, when I'm not taking them loose to review them, is to keep them in the box and get them signed by wrestlers. So I've been going to conventions now for about 3-ish years maybe, and I've met a bunch of dudes, not always getting autographed figures, but in many cases that's been my big thing to do. So in this video I want to give you guys an inside look at my autographed wrestling figure collection.
So this is where it all began. This is my autographed Elite Paige figure. This was from Series 34, and this was her first time getting an Elite figure. And I met her not at a wrestling event, it was actually at the Combate Americas event. So at the time, which was October 2016 when this all started, I was working for another website covering MMA things, and I saw that Alberto Del Rio had just been announced to be partnering up with Combate Americas. So I decided to go there because part of me was like, yo, I want to meet Paige. And that was really the big impetus to go there, was to meet Paige. Because I was like, she wasn't announced to be there obviously because it was an event for Alberto, but she was at the time not really doing much. She had just gotten her surgery and was just beginning her relationship with Alberto. So I was hoping she would show up there, and lo and behold, she did. And so I was like super starstruck by Paige because I'm a giant Paige mark. And yeah, like the first minute I got there, they were taking these photos like a throne, and I happened to be taking photos right in front of them while they were doing this. And she gave me her phone and was like, can you take a picture of me and Alberto together? And I just did not know what to do. I took the photo, and like I didn't even want to touch her, so I put the phone on the floor, which was really awkward and terrible. And then basically as the event went on, I actually did an interview with Alberto and a few other folks, and towards the end of the event, I went up to Paige and Alberto, and I had them sign their figures, which unfortunately I don't have Alberto's available. It's in another spot, which I couldn't get to. But here is Paige's figure, and they were both really, really nice. Unfortunately, it's signed in Sharpie, but, had not learned my lesson yet. But it's a great figure because it's got both the Divas title and the NXT Women's title. So this was, really cool figure to have just because it had both belts, and it was a pretty good likeness also. They would go on to reuse this head like a trillion times, but still a pretty good signature and a good figure. And the best part of all, which is how the story, and the best part of all is I was so starstruck and so enamored by Paige, and I was so excited to get these things signed because I've never gotten a toy signed before, that I was like walking off, and I walked into a wall because I was not paying attention to anything at all. I literally walked right into a wall, and I saw Paige and Alberto laughing at me, and you know what, I don't blame them. I totally deserve it, and I would have done the same. But thanks to Paige and Alberto Del Rio for getting me signed, for getting me started down this road into, well, what you're about to see. Here is my autographed Samoa Joe figure. So this is autographed in paint marker, but it was a really bad paint marker I had, and you're going to see a better paint marker in a little while, but this is my first time learning about them, and it was not a great marker. It was kind of a cheap one, and granted, paint markers are not cheap to begin with, but I got a cheapie, and as you can see, it kind of suffered in quality. It just did not flow very well. It's smudgy. It already kind of looks a little bit faded, even though it's not. It was just a poor signature. But Samoa Joe's signature is pretty cool, and he was also a very, very cool guy. So I met him at Midtown Comics, and I went actually with Andrea, and this was her first time ever meeting a wrestler and getting an autograph from a wrestler, so she was really excited. And best of all, I got there 2.5 hours early, so we were the first people in line to meet him. And I don't think there's any photos of us on WWE.com. This is back when SummerSlam was happening in New York, and WWE was there to take photos as well. It was really cool. Joe was great. I wish I had more to say to him, but I just told him how much I loved him, how much I'd seen him wrestle before. Like, I was there for basically his final match in Ring of Honor. So that was really cool. And best of all, if you ever get things signed from Midtown Comics, they give you a certificate of authenticity, which I think actually is like CGC official, which is the comic rating, whatever the heck. And if you have this certificate, I believe it counts as a witness, so they will still slab your comics. For toys, different story. But Midtown Comics certificate of authenticity goes a long way. And this was a great figure. Andrea had a good time too. And she's met a few other wrestlers with me since then. We'll talk about those later on. But yeah, good figure too. Highly recommend this one. I love Samoa Joe, and I'm looking forward to getting new figures of him very soon. Hopefully some more autographs from him too. So my adventures in autographing continued, and I went to my very first big event. The big event is a pro wrestling autograph show that happens in New York City, in Flushing. It's twice a year, and they get a lot of wrestlers to come down, like lots and lots of wrestlers. It's a very jam-packed place, as I discovered. And this was my first event that I went to, and the first person I got signed was actually Fred Ottman, who signed my Shockmaster figure, which is, by the way, just a really great figure on its own. And this is signed in Sharpie because I didn't know better yet. But the toy itself is really cool, and I have to show you guys the back in case you haven't seen the back. But yeah, he's basically upside down doing his flip. So it's a really cool figure, and Fred Ottman was not that expensive, which was really good. I was happy about that. And there he is upside down. He's ready to shock the world. But yeah, he was really nice, and I think we even took a photo together. And he has got a nice signature too. I kind of wish it was just Fred Ottman instead of the Shockmaster, but you know, whatever. I got the autograph, and it's on the Shockmaster figure, so that makes it pretty cool. And right next to Fred Ottman was Jimmy Hart. Jimmy does a lot of shows, and he's a rep by the same person, as well as Ted DiBiase, and I think IRS, maybe a few other guys. But so Jimmy was cool because he actually brought his own marker, and it is in fact a paint marker. And he's got a really nice signature. He actually writes stuff, which is nice. You know, it's a pretty good looking signature. And this is in the Hall of Fame Target exclusive figure that was made of him, which I think I had my own, but he was selling some there at the time. Now, I mean, I don't think you can find this figure as easily, but it is a really good Jimmy Hart figure, and I do not regret getting this one. And again, that autograph is really nice, and he was really super nice. I would totally meet him again. You know, like, he's a good guy. If you haven't ever met anybody if you haven't ever met a wrestler before, he's a good place to start because he's very nice, very polite, and you know, just overall cool dude. It was a good experience with Jimmy Hart, and I'd recommend him to anybody else looking to get autographs. And right next to Jimmy was Ted DiBiase, who also had a paint marker, so you can see that signature. That is a really nice signature, and it's in a really great figure. I actually don't own this one loose, and I regret it because I want that belt. I love the briefcase, I love the basketball. Granted, the briefcase is just now, like, it's been recycled again and again, but it's really the belt that I want, and it's a really good Ted DiBiase head sculpt. But again, also a very nice guy with a really good signature, and when he put the little biblical sayings down there, I was like, wait, how does he know my name is Matt? It took me a while to realize, oh, that's actually a psalm or something, because it's not my religion. But Ted DiBiase, very cool, and I would meet him again later on, so a guy that's definitely worth seeking out. Also from that same big event, I met Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and here is the Scott Hall Defining Moments figure that I got signed. It's the purple Razor Ramon, and it is signed in Sharpie. This is probably the worst experience I had at the big event, which was, again, Hall and Nash together. They basically shared a booth. You know, the line was at least 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get there. They were chatting with some people, but some people may just brought, like, too much stuff and they lost their fire to do this. I don't know. When I got up to them, like, Scott Hall didn't even look at me. He didn't even look me in the eye or anything. He just was like, whatever, just signed the toy, moved it on, and that was it. So that was really unpleasant. I didn't even get to say a word to the man. And when you go to these things, you kind of want to at least talk to the dudes, and I did not even have that ability. And then right down the line was the Kevin Nash figure. But that wasn't all, because there's more to the story, because he was sharing a booth with Kevin Nash. And also from that same day that I met Scott Hall, here we have the big sexy Kevin Nash figure. This is the ringside exclusive version that I got autographed by him as well in Sharpie, and similarly unfun time. And best of all, so he was the second person I met in that line because they were basically sharing a spot together. And so Vinny, the wrestling figure historian, was next in line, and I wanted to get photos of him getting the toy signed. And security actually blocked me, like, despite literally just seeing me moments ago getting my figure signed, and not taking photos, you know, like pose photos, just me getting photos of Vinny having his toy signed. They were, like, literally putting their hands on my camera and blocking me. And I was telling them, like, hey, I just paid for an autograph, I just paid for this, like, I just get in front of my friend. They're like, sure you did. So, really not great experience at all. And I'm struggling with the idea of getting these re-signed, but I just don't think it's worth it, because they just were not the most pleasant guys to talk to, ultimately. So, I don't know. You know, user mileage may vary with these guys, but I had not heard great things about Nash and Hall to begin with autographs, so, you know, I got it. I think I'm done with it. I think I'm happy. But then again, considering how I'm questioning it as I say that, we'll see. So this figure is also from my very first big event. This is a signed Mark Henry, an elite from Series 32. Mark Henry was like one of the big headliners for this event, and he had a pretty big line, but he was a very nice guy. I mean, I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with him, but he seemed to be a really good guy, really great with kids. And, you know, I gotta be honest, like, when I got this toy, I had to get it off eBay, because there weren't really a lot of Mark Henrys available, which was funny. I remember seeing him as a peg warmer in many places, but this particular figure, I just never even remember seeing anywhere, because, I mean, it's actually a great toy. So, you can see it's got steel ring steps and a table. That's kind of nuts. Oh, he also has a shaver. I'm gonna get a close-up of that. In fact, he has an electric razor there from one of his matches. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good Mark Henry toy, and it's got great accessories. And I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, that signature is kind of weak, because, well, A, because it's in Sharpie, but B, it's just, I I don't know, it's a little scribbly. I mean, I'll meet Mark Henry again. I will say, I'd probably meet Mark Henry again, so I'm considering maybe wiping it down and getting him to re-sign this figure. But I gotta be perfectly honest with you guys, I like this toy a lot. I'm really tempted just to take it out and put it as part of my loose collection, because I mean, look at this one, jeez. So yeah, if you want a good Mark Henry figure, Series 32 Elite, man, go back in time somehow, pick yourself up this toy, you will not regret it. So this is from the second big event that me and Vinny went to, I believe, and Bret Hart was one of the headliners, and we could not believe how cheap he was at the time. He was like $25 for a photo or an autograph. That was absurd, because keep in mind, like other guys, like Sting was there that day, I believe, and he was charging $60 for either a photo or an autograph, and there were guys now who are doing way more. And yeah, Bret Hart was easily one of the nicest guys ever. Like, his line was pretty long, but that's mostly because he was talking to everybody. And so I had him sign as well his book for me, and I took a photo with him, and he was super nice. I didn't even know what to say to the man a little bit, because it was just like, he's such a cool dude. I was wearing my New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt, and he was like, oh, I haven't seen that in a while. And he was just, you know, really trying to engage everybody. He's such a nice, great guy. Highly recommend meeting him. He has a great signature, which is a little hard to see here. So this is done with a gold Sharpie. So it's actually faded a little bit already, because it used to be a lot brighter when I first got it. So again, that's kind of the dangers of getting things done with Sharpies, because they will fade, they will be absorbed into the plastic. So I don't recommend doing them with Sharpies, but again, I had not quite learned yet. It was basically after this event that I learned, like, it's time to upgrade. So yeah, got to meet Bret. It's really awesome. I cannot say enough good things about him, and he was so good, I got to meet him a second time. So we'll be taking a look at those other items in a little bit. So we'll be taking a look at those items in a little bit. So this is my first Ric Flair autograph, but this isn't the first time I actually met him, because this Ric Flair Defining Moments figure was brought to me by my friend Leah. She went down to, I think it was Rhode Island Comic Con, and Rick was doing an appearance there, and I asked her to get them for me, because this was like again, still 2017, maybe? And she waited about 2 hours in line for me, because that's how good of a friend she is. And she said that he was really nice, and unfortunately it is also signed in Sharpie, but that is why I had to meet him eventually on my own. But yeah, the Defining Moments figure itself is really gorgeous, and I'm still deciding if I'm going to actually take him out of the box, or rather wipe the box down and have him re-sign this one. But for now I do have him signed, and let me show you that one. So this is my very first Mick Foley autograph. This is from the Elite Series 48. It is Cactus Jack, and it's a really, really great figure. I actually own this one loose as well. So I met him at a signing at the Ultimate. And so Mick is a guy that, you know, he's a Long Islander. He shouldn't be that hard to get in theory, but for whatever reason, our paths just never crossed, and I am a huge Foley fan. So, you know, this was, I think, my very first autograph signing, in fact, at the Ultimate. If you don't know what the Ultimate is, that's the Ultimate Wrestling Universe, which is in Flushing, New York. I've been going to Jack Sabbath for, God, decades, because he used to have a comic store, basically, not far from my house. And then he moved over to the wrestling store officially. I mean, I've been going to him since I was a little kid. Like, he's known me since I had braces, if not before. So this is my autographed Cactus Jack figure. It is signed in Sharpie. I also had him sign my book, because I loved the book that he made. That was like the very first wrestling book I ever read, and it basically changed how I viewed wrestling. It just changed a lot of things about how I thought about the sport. And he was such a nice guy. I cannot believe how nice he was. I'd heard good things about Mick, but I cannot believe how much in person, like how great he was. And his daughter Noelle was there also, took a photo together. They were both just such great people, and this would not be the last time I got autographs from them either. Mostly because, again, this is pretty much really the point where I was like, I think I need to upgrade. Like I said with the Bret Hart figure, you know, this is kind of a wake-up call especially, so I did not want to get any more toys autographed without paint markers. So yeah, you can see here's his autograph. He did personalize it, which was cool. So, you know, like, part of me wanted to actually wipe it down, but the other part of me was like, it's our first meeting, and as cool as it would be to get it re-signed in paint marker, it's already personalized, and it's just good memories. So, from a very good day. So that's my first Mick Foley figure autographed. And here is my second Mick Foley autographed. This time it is in paint marker. So this is the SummerSlam Special Elite Edition figure of Mankind from when he won the championship. One of my favorite events of all time. And it's a good figure. Again, I also own this one loose because it's got the belt, it's got Socko. It's just a really good version of Mankind. I got this signed at WrestleCon, and Mick was actually one of the first people I went to at WrestleCon. It wasn't the first, but he was one of the first who I went to at WrestleCon. And again, super nice, really just polite with everybody, just really went out of his way to talk to people and make you feel like you're special. So I really appreciated that. And the signature also is just, again, you can see how much more it pops when you do it in paint marker, folks. So, you know, this is a little chronologically out of order now, but look at that paint marker. It's a world of difference, and I recommend you do that when you get toys signed. And yeah, this is a knockout figure. Will I be getting more stuff autographed from Mick? I'm pretty sure I will. And here's my signed DDP figure. This is from Elite Series 36. And this is another one where I did not actually meet the wrestler in person. This was once again Leah. So this is from a different event. I don't remember which one it was exactly, but again, Leah just happened to be going. It might have been a different Rhode Island Comic Con, in fact, but I saw that DDP was going there, and I had the figure, and I was like, oh, do you mind getting it signed? So she waited in line for him for about an hour. She was actually surprised he had such a big line, but she's not a wrestling fan. She didn't really know much about him, but she said he was like an absolute sweetheart, and also just talked way more than she expected. And they were talking about yoga and other stuff like that. And she liked him a lot, and he was really friendly, and he's got a really nice signature. And again, this is in a paint marker, and it's a white paint marker, and that marker was having a pretty good day, because you can see it's actually pretty thick here, whereas other signatures were not so great looking. But this was a pretty good signature, and I will meet DDP in person again one day, face-to-face, and get him to sign something else for me. I want to have a good chat as well with him. So many people have said a lot of good things about him at autograph events, and I want to see how he is face-to-face, I guess. So more so, I just want to have my own DDP experience. Bang! And this is my autographed Jake the Snake Roberts Target exclusive Hall of Fame figure. This was my first time meeting Jake the Snake. I had him sign it with the white paint marker. It's a very good figure, by the way. It's one of my favorite Jake elites out there. So Jake was at the Wrestling Universe, and I'd heard, again, he's one of those guys I'd heard mixed things about. I actually met him at the first big event or second big event I'd gone to. And he was a little persnickety, maybe is a good word to use. I got a photo and a signature from him, but he didn't even open his mouth to talk to us. Like, he just kind of smiled and nodded. It was kind of disappointing, and he was a little bit in a better mood this day. He went out for a smoke break, like, right before, in fact, he met me, so maybe that's why he was feeling better, because he was actually able to, like, walk out and smoke. Maybe that was it. I don't know. He was in a slightly better mood. So this was the second signature I got from him, but it would not be the last. I'll get him one more time at another event. But it's a really nice signature, and it's a good-looking figure, so I'm very happy to have this as part of my collection. This is my autographed List of Jericho, Chris Jericho. So me and Vinny, the wrestling figure historian, met Chris at Barnes & Noble because he was doing a signing for his newest book, and we waited about 2.5 hours in line as well, which seems to be the running thing for getting dudes in lines. This is like one of the best Chris Jericho figures ever made. Highly recommend it. And Chris is one of those guys who, it's probably harder and harder to get his autograph now just because of how he's doing stuff, but maybe now he's at AEW, he'll be a little bit more accessible. But it just seems like the Canadians are just like really open to talking and being chatty good people. And he was really great with both of us. He was a little jet lagged. He got there a little bit late. I think he just literally gotten in that, not long before he showed up at the event. But he was really nice, talked to everybody, did what everybody asked. In fact, I actually had him sign the toy on the back. And he was very confused by this. I had him sign my name. And he was a little confused. He was like asking, when I explained to him, I was telling him, I want to be on the list of Jericho, can you put my name on the back? And he was so confused by it. It took him, I think, a minute or two to realize what I was saying. But then he did it, and so I'm on the list. I've made the list of Jericho. And this is that figure. So yeah, if you could find Jericho at any events, another dude that's absolutely 110% worth meeting.